Oh my, do we have an exciting video for you today. There are 7 days left in the final era of Season 6 in Axie Infinity, where everything is at stake to get that much coveted AXS, ranging from 0.35 AXS for the top 10k, that gets bigger the higher you place with a whopping 1000 AXS for the top 1. And in this video, we'll be talking about the diverse top 100 metagame to reveal the 5 best team comps that players are playing, how each one plays out, and what my recommendations are if you're just jumping into the game to find that one true team that suits your playstyle. Let's go. Hello Ruthless fam, Ruthless Reg taking point in this metagame breakdown. Note that as of now, all runes and charms are unleashed, setting the stage for intense battles. Some of these runes shine brighter than others, revealing this share of team compositions that players are playing in the top 100. Note as well that our data comes from Axie.tech's Origins leaderboard, where they show us the current rank of players, the Axies that they are playing, and their match history. On first look, notice the variety reflecting the rich strategic depth in this competitive scene. There's a multitude to choose from, ranging from the Feather Descend Resurrect strategies taking 25%, big attacks from Sandal taking 24%, Bubble AoE bombs at 14%, Momo's relentless damage at 12%, Bleed's chip damage at 9%, and the remaining 16% is covered by Anemone's Rage, Shielding, and Swirl comps. Now let's break down the top 5 teams dominating the final era. Let's jump right in and talk about the Feather Descend deck, which takes up 25% of the metagame. It has 2 deadly variants that are both successfully dominating the upper part of the top 100, Feather Spear on the left and Winghorn on the right of this match. Both teams are highly offensive with Feather Descent in the middle, but they are deceptively tanky as well, because the front and back utilize the Last Stand rune and the Sacred Feather rune respectively, which means that if they die, they get resurrected to tank a bit more damage before they go down. The offensive power of this team comes from Feather Descent in the middle, which upon getting 10 feathers uses up 3 of them to create 3 feather daggers, which equates to a plethora of 0-cost attack moves. And the bonus of it is each feather dagger of that Axie attacks twice instead of once. Differentiating between Feather Spear on the left and Winghorn on the right is that the left side focuses on single target attacks, whittling down enemies quickly 1 Axie at a time, which means it's stronger versus glass cannon comps that have 1 Axie that is more valuable than the rest, like Momo comps and Bubble comps. While the Winghorn variant does more AoE damage, which is stronger versus more balanced comps like the Sandal team. Variations of the team can include Collect Protect instead of one of the defensive runes, but is less effective statistics-wise. Next up is the Sandal team on the left, which is a very balanced comp, offering bursts of damage in the form of Sandals, which gets 50% more damage if the attacked Axie is debuffed. And the debuff of this comp is usually Vulnerable or Deathmark being applied to that Axie, which is going to be even more bonus damage. It's well balanced because it also has defense in the form of the Nemo ears, which you can pull from Nemo tails for added consistency, that then brings your energy meter into energy burst range, giving you 1 extra energy per turn from that point onwards. Its runes are usually Energy Shard on the front to give you that extra energy fragment kick, because it gives 1 per unique Axie class you have in your team, and you usually have 3 different Axie classes. Last Stand for a mech hidden in the middle to avoid ambush attacks, and a Celestial Might Axie at the back that provides a lot of firepower but only gets to use those attacks twice before getting exiled. Most of the time, that's all you need to get that win. And this Sandal comp takes up 24% of the metagame breakdown share. On the right, we have the Bubble comp, which takes up 14% of the metagame. It has a glass cannon playstyle that aims to protect its very offensive midline Axie, which runs the Heart of the Ocean rune that gives 1 bubble at the start of the turn, But aside from that, the Axie's bubble bombs also dish out 50% more damage. The concept of the team is you build up your bubbles in the middle Aqua Axie, convert it into bubble bombs with sponge, and once you have a lot of bubble bomb stacks, like 8 or more, you can dish out huge chunks of AoE damage with any attack from that Axie. It's usually paired with a defensive backline that has Last Wish as its rune for added defense and AoE output, with an energy shard frontliner for getting that quick energy burst as well. Another very strong team is the Momo comp on the left, which takes home 12% of the metagame share. It also adapts a glass cannon playstyle. The high value Axie in the middle is actually a starter Axie named Momo. Don't underestimate her just because she's a starter. Momo's damage output is impressive, with an incremental increase in damage based on focusing fire, hitting multiple times with her own moves, and dishing out additional damage with feather daggers from Feathered Descent and from her own creations. She is protected by 2 defensive Axies equipped with runes like Gaia's Embrace and Last Stand. However, the team is not limited to these configurations, as there is a wide variety of defensive Axies to choose from. These include Healing Pulse Plants, Collect Protect Bugs, Prehistoric Armor Reptiles, or even a defensive Axie with Last Wish. Lastly, let's talk about the bleed team on the right that takes home 9% of the top 100 metagame share. This comp inflicts widespread bleeding and leverages grievous wounds to immobilize enemies and amplify damage so that they can't move, because if they do, they bleed out and lose their Axies. This comp is also an AoE team that tends to do well versus well-balanced comps, with a focus on dishing out low increments of damage across the board, but applies a multitude of bleed stacks that even cleanses and cleansers can't easily get out of. The comp uses a Brutal Claw Beast in the middle that stacks up bleed on the opponent quickly while dishing out AoE damage once the Bloodstorms trigger. It's paired with 2 other bleed-inducing Axies, but with defensive runes like Last Wish and Last Stand, or offensive ones like Paralyzing Glare. And those are the top 5 decks of this current metagame. Don't forget the runner-ups though that take 16% of the metagame share. Anemones that ambush Axies, whether it be front or back, Rage comps that maximize their energy and damage output on rage turns, and shielding teams which are gonna take the fight to the late game through a big wall of defense and end it with Blood Moon damage and Tassels damage. So what would I recommend if you're starting anew? Consider the Momo or Sandal teams. While feather decks are potent, they're pricey. Momo requires only 2 Axies because Momo herself is free at the start of the game, although you gotta buff up her stats a bit. And if you're starting from total scratch, Sandal is one of the most cost-effective powerhouses in the current meta that can decimate Axies from front to back very quickly, while giving you the consistency to energy burst quickly with Nemos, and providing you flexibility by having your ambush attacks attack the backline instead of going front to back. Although if you go that route, it's a bit weaker in damage output, because Sandals is only a front to back attack. Only the other ambush attacks would work to the backline. As the final era progresses, keep an eye on the emerging strategies and market trends. Adaptability is key in Axie Infinity's dynamic metagame. You've got 7 days to dominate and claim that AXS. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments down below. That's it for now, and see you in the arena.